These dunes, scorched by the sun and lashed by the winds, finally come to die on a coast mercilessly beaten by the waves. The same coast which for centuries the sailors who plied the commercial routes between Europe and the West Indies feared, respected, and above all avoided. This coast has inspired many a writer. Its sands are strewn with the skeletons of dead animals, bleached by the sun, testimony to the harshness of this coast, where only the strongest and best adapted are capable of surviving. They have seen many tragedies at sea, and this place has well earned its fearful name: the Skeleton Coast. Not so long ago, the white man also tried to adapt to this dry land. They came here lured by the promise of untold riches, the diamond deposits. But nature proved stronger, and they soon had to admit defeat. Entire towns were abandoned overnight as they fled from the terrors of the desert. These ghost towns still provide the greatest evidence of the hostility of this dry land. Shipwrecks of many ages and many nationalities, worn by the passing of time, still lie half buried, perhaps silently lamenting their absurd, unexpected fate. The old ships made of wood have slowly crumbled away, the combined effect of the sea, the wind, and the sand. But the most modern ships made of metal rise like ghosts from the deserted beaches. The Skeleton Coast marks the limit of a desert which covers a narrow strip, no wider than 200 kilometers, running from southern Angola to the Orange River, the border with South Africa. Like a coastal belt, the dunes and rocks of the Namib Desert cover 250,000 square kilometers along more than 2,000 kilometers of the Atlantic coast of Namibia. The Namib is one of the oldest and most arid deserts in the world. Its mountains were witnesses to the cataclysms of the Jurassic Age, when the supercontinent Gondwana split apart, creating new land masses, among them southern Africa. Just a few kilometers away, enormous dunes, over 300 meters high, transformed the landscape, making it unrecognizable. That is the Namib, a constantly changing desert, a dry land where life lies in hiding. From the air, this mass of orange-colored sand seems endless. These are the tallest dunes in the world, and below them lies the world's largest diamond deposit. It's a fantastic sight, which could only have been created by nature. As the light changes, the dunes of the Namib take on 1,000 different hues of spectacular beauty. They are like mobile sculptures, shaped over thousands of years by the wind. The underground rivers provide just enough water for the odd acacia, adding a not quite adequate green to the symphony of crude colors dotted across the landscape. But every year there is a veritable explosion of life along the Skeleton Coast. In October, the sea lions come to these coasts to give birth. The cold Benguela current, which travels up from the glacial Antarctic Ocean and along the southwest coast of Africa, carries with it a considerable quantity of nutrients. The sea is soon swimming with fish, and these attract the sea lions, which are the final link in this particular food chain. At this time of year, Cape Cross is home to the largest colony of sea lions, over 100,000 of them. Outside the breeding season, males of the species are rarely seen. They start to arrive at the end of October in order to mark out their territory. They are well fed when they arrive and can weigh up to 400 kilos. But in the course of 6 weeks, they will expend a considerable amount of energy defending their territories and protecting the females, and can lose up to 200 kilos. The first European to set foot on this coast was the Portuguese Diego Cao in 1486. A year later, another Portuguese navigator, Bartolomé Dias, with his 3 ships, sailed into the bay seeking protection from a storm. After many attempts, he finally managed to land and named the bay Angra Pequeña, Small Cove. But it was not until 1883 that the first stable settlement was established, when the German navigator and merchant Adolf Luderitz reached an agreement with the head of one of the Nama tribes. Luderitz bought the bay for a relatively small amount of money and 60 rifles in order to set up a whale processing plant here. A few months later, Chancellor Bismarck declared Namibia a protectorate of the German Empire. In 1904, war broke out between the Nama and the Germans, and Luderitz became the first prisoner of war. These are rich waters, and the whaling business rapidly flourished. A port and a modern processing plant were built. But the real industrial and economic boom came later with the discovery of the diamond mines. This was in May 1908 when, during the construction of the railway line, a worker called Zachary Lawala found a small bright stone lying on the ground. He showed the stone to his boss, the German Augustus Stauch, who, realizing what it was, requested permission from the authorities to prospect in the area. The news spread like wildfire, and soon merchants, adventurers, and fortune seekers began to arrive in Luderitz. In just 4 years, the town was transformed from a small, remote fishing port into one of the most important cities in southern Africa. Still today, very little has changed around Luderitz. The most prosperous businesses are still where they were 100 years ago and are still run by the descendants of those first colonists. And the city itself, though it has changed slightly more, still retains the atmosphere of a remote frontier town. Luderitz is today a sleepy, somewhat surrealist German colony. Just like a typical small Bavarian town, but transposed to one of the most remote corners of southern Africa, where the wind blows furiously all year round. The railway disappeared a long time ago, but a magnificent road connects the town with the outside world. Luderitz still lies well off the beaten track, stranded in the desert between 2 enormous diamond-producing regions, which are prohibited zones and heavily guarded. The majority of these streets are still sand, and the houses are painted in bright colors to break the monotony of the landscape. The town is surrounded by almost endless diamond deposits, but these are transported directly to South Africa and have very little influence on the local economy. Nonetheless, Luderitz remains prosperous thanks to the same activity which was the reason it was founded: fishing. Due to the Col-Benguela current, these waters are the largest, richest fishing grounds in the South Atlantic. The entire city owes its living to the hake, lobsters and seaweed, which provide work for over 5,000 people. This industry is, after diamonds, the second largest source of income for the Namibian government.